What is up, entrepreneurs? You are tuned in to the Non-Corporate Network. You are watching Entreprenews. Dustin, how you doing this Friday morning?
Doing good.
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, "What is it? Friday? It's Thursday, dude." Oh gosh. Well, again, you're watching Entreprenews, a show where Dustin and I debate the top 6 trending small business stories for 3 minutes each. Anything you want to add there, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm typically the winner of the debate, have a better viewpoint, but yeah, at the end of the day, we just want to bring what's trending in the business news.
I don't think that was an accurate statement you just made, but other than that, I mean, for the most part, we do a good job of being truthful, other than what Dustin just commented. But no, it's a combination of CNBC, ESPN, and yeah, we just want to bring you the unfiltered truth. So without further ado, you ready to jump into this?
Let's make it happen.
Okay, so first story. Sony has bought a $250 million stake in the company Epic Games. You know how much this $250 million investment was worth?
I mean, a couple $100 million.
No, the like in terms of equity.
Oh, I would say, I don't know, 5%, 10%.
1.4% for $250 million. For those of you that don't know, Epic Games, they are the inventors of Fortnite. They also made a game called Gears of War, among others. And I think this just kind of shows the writings on the wall in terms of the gaming industry and where it's going. Epic Games valued at over $17 billion. I can think of a lot. That's 17 Ring doorbells. You know, they sold for $1 billion to Amazon. 17 Ring doorbells. Yeah, it's crazy. But what are your thoughts on where the gaming industry is going? And do you think this is an investment that's actually going to pay off for them?
I mean, the gaming industry, it's growing huge. I mean, we're seeing less people go out playing baseball, playing soccer, and more people tearing it up on the controllers. But I mean, it's I mean, there's so much more that you can do with it. There's I mean, there's a level of community in there. I mean, Travis Scott had a concert in Fortnite. So I mean, there's other elements outside to just the gaming, and I think it's gonna expedite the VR side of things as well, as more and more people are not only playing but watching others play. I mean, that's a huge growing trend as well. Whether this is a good deal, I mean, they made Fortnite. I mean, that's huge. I think that's what's kind of expedited the whole gaming industry as well. And so I think it's a good relationship. It'll be interesting to see how they can combine their synergies to do more. But
well, this deal is not exclusive to Sony. They're not licensing products or anything that they're not licensing to other companies to Sony by doing this. Maybe it buys them some favor, but as you mentioned, the gaming industry is growing, and guess what happens when the gaming industry grows? It attracts more companies to develop games. And to be honest, when I see, okay, yeah, Fortnite was a great game. Other than that, they had another hit with Gears of War. Does that mean that they're going to continue to produce the best games? Usually somebody gets knocked off their throne. And in the gaming world, where it's not like you're buying a PS5, it is you're playing a specific game. There's hundreds of games out there. I can't imagine that they're just going to keep pumping out hits with all of the additional competition. So for $250 million for less than a point and a half, that tells me that, you know, it's going to be a while before this deal pays off for them, if it pays off for them.
You know, I wonder why they didn't choose someone else that had a more consistent track record. Sure, they haven't come out with, you know, one huge game that just blows up worldwide, but I mean, something like Gears of War. I mean, there's many other studios that have made good games over the course of the last decade. I mean, you talk about Gears of War, that was what, 2006, 2007. So I mean, you come out with a hit once every 8-9 years.
Well, here's the thing too, Dustin, is that Call of Duty. So I'm looking at this. Infinity Ward and Treyarch were making one half of the Call of Duty games, where Amaze Entertainment and Gray Matter Interactive Studios are making the other half. The Gray Matter and Amaze Entertainment are long gone. So, you know, just because you have a hit doesn't mean you're going to be around for the long term. So, I think it's definitely a risk, but, you know, we'll see if it pays off for him, Cotton. Okay, diving into our next story here. An audit slams Facebook as a home for misinformation and hate. You know, we know that 900 plus advertisers are now boycotting Facebook. We know that Mark Zuckerberg is taking a stance that is a little bit too conservative for most of its employees, as well as people that are advertising, obviously. And so, this outside audit that was done by some civil rights leaders, I forget the name of the company here, I'm looking for it. The CEO of an advocacy group, Free Press, and they are pushing to have Facebook not only have this third-party moderation platform, but have it completely be separate from Facebook. Facebook is still the ones that are writing the checks for the moderators. They're the ones that are giving the training for the moderators. So what are your thoughts here? How do we make this work where it is something that helps with the content moderation?
Yeah, I think everyone can agree that we probably need to figure something out that quits hate speech. I mean, it's not good. Whether it's Facebook that's doing it or a third party, that's how we approach that. I think is where the question is going to be. I mean, I do see the downside of Facebook paying the people that's moderating their own channel, but also it's like, if you get this third party, they're going to have money being fueled in. They're going to have lobbyists. I mean, who's to say that they're not controlling what gets posted and what's not? And now you're kind of putting the control out of Facebook. I mean, they're not, they're kind of held at the hands of this other moderator, and it's they could get, like I said, they can get some money in and prevent certain things from being posted. So right. There's a lot of weirdness that can come from it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that one thing that's going to come is, like we talked about last week, the influencers kind of creating somewhat of a union. The content creators are the ones that have the leverage over everything. And so if there's an exodus there, then I think that's going to damage them more than 900 advertisers pulling out even. And so I think that's really where we can see some change is companies like Free Press, the influencer union. Those are going to have to help sway this. But I do believe that it needs to be separate. You have Facebook paying the checks to the moderators and training them. They're going to train them on policies that are going to help them, not necessarily, and be more profitable for them before anything else. And so I think there's a big risk there, especially with how much of that percentage Zuckerberg owns. He's going to be calling the shots still regardless.
Yeah, and I mean, Zuckerberg is pretty smart. He has a pretty smart team. I mean, they'll start doing cost analysis of, should we let some of these posts go, knowing that we might get regulation coming in. We got to spend time and resources answering that. And so it's like, I mean, the